Excuse me. How long you been in pilot?
What's up?
How long you been in pilot?
10 years.
Okay. I this might be a stupid question, but people keep asking
Is
me.
it going on TikTok?
No, not on TikTok.
I can't.
Is the Earth flat?
No, I'm not gonna answer that.
You're not gonna answer that?
I just came off a 7-hour flight. I'm not gonna answer.
So it is flat.
Not gonna answer.
Okay, that's interesting, man.
So you know how people talk about the conspiracies pertaining to the moon landing? Primarily that we never went. It was all done in a studio. All the evidence is gone, etc., etc. I never gave it much thought. All my life, I never gave it much thought. But recently, I have. I've started thinking about it, and I give it a 20% chance, 1 out of 5, that we did not go. And before I was like 100% we went, etc., etc. But the reason I say that is the air conditioning. It's the air conditioning. It's not that NASA did the entire mission with calculator-powered computers, like antique calculators. It's not that today we can't even deal with the radiation from space. Like we've never gone that far out in relatively modern times because the radiation hasn't been, that issue has not been solved yet, but somehow we had it solved in 1969. 2 of the astronauts have said, not on their deathbed, but in their old age, they've admitted that we never went. And all the plans are missing. Like everything's gone. Everything. I think one of the capsules exists, and it doesn't look like the kind of thing that would have made it there. But the biggest thing is this. This is what you have to think about. It's the air conditioning. So I have a car with a battery that weighs a ton, basically, more than 2,000 pounds. And it's enough to power the car. It's enough to power the car, and you can sit in it and use it and be comfortable. It's got climate control. But the air conditioning in those particular capsules on those spaceships, it was 275 degrees outside. You understand? 275 degrees. They were using 2 car batteries, okay? It's just, there's never been any kind of air conditioning technology to match that. And if there has, it's still top secret because no one knows what the heck they were using to cool or heat as far as climate control, because it went, like, my understanding, 200 degrees negative and 275 degrees positive, meaning heat or cold. 275 below zero or 275 above. So that's something to think about. It's the air conditioning. That's, until someone explains that to me, I'm gonna have my doubts.
About to ruffle some feathers. Y'all ready? Here, that's better. Where are the tire tracks, y'all? Seriously, show me where the tire tracks are. There should be some kind of impression from the tires, right? Look, that's a little footprint, allegedly. This right here, look at the little rocks. Like, that's no tire tracks. I'm just not getting that. See, like, look, there's some tire tracks right there, but there's none. Oh, you can see that right there. Okay, look, but the first one I showed y'all, it was slinging dirt up everywhere and dust everywhere, they said, so they stopped driving it. Fixed the fender. I guess homeboy just never got off of it. I guess he just sat there. He's the friend that's like, hey, sit in the truck. He's that friend. Anyways, so yeah, somebody explain to me where they are. And I mean, what y'all think about this suit? Take a good look at this one right here. I don't see any tire tracks on this one. I see dust, but it's flinging forward. Why would dust be flinging forward if he's driving forward? Also, what's up with his hand, man? This looks almost like a doll. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them, the one that you got in your basement. Yeah, you know that one. Yeah, the one in the basement. They're absolutely zero. Zilch, nada, Have a good day.
This is how the Bible describes the cosmology of the earth, and I'm about to prove it to you. The word firmament comes from the Hebrew word rakia, meaning expanse or spread out. When the Hebrew scholars translated the Hebrew into Greek, they used the word stereoma. The word stereoma means firm or solid, like a physical structure, as it's talking about the dome over the earth. Isaiah 40:22 says, "It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in." What does a tent look like? This is what a tent would look like in biblical times. It's the same as modern day times. In Genesis, it says it took 1 full day to create the firmament. So if you were to just throw the firmament into the nothingness of space, you're basically saying the firmament means nothing, which is not true, because David in Psalm says the firmament declares the Most High's glory and handiwork. So you can't say the firmament is nothing. Psalm 19:1 says the heavens declare the glory of Elohim, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So you can't say the firmament is just nothing. Job 37:18 says, can thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong as molten glass? Molten glass is strong. It's a hard surface. It's talking about the firmament.
Hi guys, I just wanted to make a video quickly just disproving all of modern science. It's really simple. If you're a Christian, you're familiar with this book, the Holy Bible that God wrote. And I'm going to read just the first few verses of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. I mean, we really could stop just reading there, and that disproves it, but we can keep going. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Kind of sounds like water. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Oh, it is water. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. No sun, just light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Kind of sounds like a snow globe with water all around it. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. I mean, I could keep reading, but that's already just completely destroyed every single lie that modern science has come up with. So if you believe the Bible, you don't need to research anything. Just, it's all there. He put it in his word, in literally the first, 8 verses. So, yeah, don't be confused. Just read the Bible.
Whilst the world is still reeling from the shocking death of Charlie Kirk and the strange numerology surrounding it, I want to remind you all that this isn't the first time that the masses have been played by a script. In fact, one of the biggest deceptions ever staged happened nearly 40 years ago, and it was broadcast live to millions of people. Now, of course, you remember the 1986 Challenger disaster, don't you? We were told where 7 astronauts died right before our eyes. But what if I told you, not only did they survive, but they're still alive today? Okay, so let's go through this one by one. The first person to die in this disaster was Francis Richard Scobie, the Challenger commander, supposedly perished. Yet, look here. This is Francis Scobie, a CEO of a company with the same face, same smile. Yet decades later, he is alive and well. Next to unfortunately die in this disaster, we've got Michael J. Smith, a NASA astronaut, you know. But decades later, we have got Michael J. Smith, a professor from the University of Wisconsin. No attempt to even hide it. He has literally got the same age, the same look. You know, this is not a coincidence. It's more than likely a cover-up. Next up, we've got Ronald McNair. This guy was said to be a hero who also died in the '86 disaster. And here is his twin brother, Carl McNair, who looks literally identical. But the records blur the lines between them. But there's no explanation for this. There is just once again another human that looks exactly like the guy who died in the disaster. I mean, I think you're getting the gist by now, aren't you? This is the main man himself, Ellison Anazaki, the first ever Asian American astronaut, supposedly gone forever. Yet a man named Claude Anazaki, his brother, exists with the exact same features, down to the smile, to the resemblance, which is undeniable. Okay, so now we have got Judith Resnick, sorry, America's second woman ever in space. We were told that she died at the age of 36, but here stands a professor called Judith Resnick of Yale Law. Alive, teaching, same voice, same face. Are we seriously meant to believe that this is just another coincidence? And finally, we have got Krista McAuliffe, the teacher who was supposed to inspire children going to space, said to have died before millions of students were watching her live. Yet decades later, we find a person called Sharon A. McAuliffe, the same woman, just older, still teaching, little bit more weight on her, but she is once again still alive. So yeah, beautiful people, just remember that the deception runs very deep in this matrix that we live in. And if NASA have lied about the Challenger, what else have they lied about? Space, the moon landings, the very shape of our world. But one thing is clear to me, that this isn't just history. It's a wake-up call. The world is not what we've been told.
Are we about to be told that we're going to be invaded by aliens? Because I sort of feel like that's where things are headed. So there was a UAP congressional hearing yesterday, and they released new footage and new evidence. Now, this isn't the first hearing they've had. This has been going on for a while, but it hasn't been taken seriously. It hasn't caught on to mainstream narratives yet, but I think it's about to. And I think that they're gearing up for that with 3i Atlas. The whole 3i Atlas story was very fringe when it first came out, and now we're starting to hear it more in mainstream circles. It was discovered July 1st, but it didn't start picking up steam with the general public until well into August. And I feel like this narrative is just getting kind of pushed further and further, and they want to see how far it goes. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. It could be PBB, it could be true, it could be interdimensional beings, it could be a holy war, who knows what it is, right? But I feel like we're approaching the point where the country of the United States is going to be told that such things exist and they're coming, or they're already here. And inevitably, when enough people believe the message, it's going to cause panic. And with that panic can cause all sorts of responses. But naturally, people who are more inclined to be violent or start riots will probably lean into that. And so I think that the government knows this and they're anticipating that. And so they're setting up shop to prepare for that. And perhaps maybe that's even what these data centers are, because guys, these data centers are huge and they don't look they look like concentration camps. So if 3i Atlas is supposed to arrive sometime next month to Mars and then be closest to us, I think in December, we're looking at a window sometime in 2025 where this narrative is going to continue to be pushed if this is what's happening. And this could very well be the nudge needed to push us into a UBI system or a cryptocurrency system or a one world order or any of those things. I mean, we're seeing unsettled societies across the globe. And I feel that that further illustrates the possibility that this is coming.
In Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, made in 1968, the crew didn't have the luxury of modern-day digital visual effects. They had to rely on miniatures and practical effects, like this floating pin. It was attached to plexiglass with a piece of double-stick tape. I had to try it myself, and it was not easy getting rid of the reflections, but I'm sure in a controlled environment it'd be a lot easier. When it came time for the actor to grab it, she just pulled it off the plexiglass, like this. Basically, they attached one corner of the plexiglass and it acted as a big pendulum. I can't imagine the pressure the effects department was under. Stanley Kubrick was a known perfectionist, but I'm sure they understood the gravity of the situation.
If your flight had to make a sudden emergency landing and landed over 1,000 miles away and 3 to 4 states away from anywhere you're supposed to be, would you question why? Let's talk about it. So a flight from New York to Hawaii had a pregnant woman on board who went into labor, and they had to make an emergency landing immediately. Where did they land, you ask? Seattle, Washington. Now, upon looking at that flight pattern, it goes about the top left corner of New Mexico, is about the closest you could be to Seattle, either somewhere in there or Arizona. Now, hypothetically, let's just say they were the closest they could have been to Seattle in order to make this make any type of sense. So pretty much anywhere between northeast Arizona and northwest New Mexico, Albuquerque area. Now, if I had somebody going into labor, would I risk a 3-hour detour from Albuquerque to Seattle? Just rough numbers. They were somewhere around Albuquerque. Gotta be for this to make sense, you know what I'm saying? Because Seattle was close, right? Seattle is nowhere near the flight path that they should have been taking to Hawaii. Unless you happen to have a flat earth map somewhere handy. Oh, now it's making a lot more sense. Would you looky there? That's crazy. Now I see why they would stop in Seattle. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is just one occurrence, right? One flight doesn't mean anything. How about the emergency landing that happened on a flight between Dallas and Beijing where they landed in Calgary? That doesn't make much sense, does it? Oh shit, that does make sense. What do you know? Okay, two flights. That don't mean nothing. What about the flight from London to Pakistan where they made an emergency landing in Moscow? Why would you risk flying over all that land in all them countries in the event of an emergency? Oh, okay, it wasn't risky at all. It's actually right. Okay. No, that makes total sense as to why they would land in Moscow. Or what about the flight from Chicago to Doha, or however you pronounce it? They also had an emergency landing in Moscow. Odd. Oh, okay, not so odd now. Not so odd now. That makes perfect sense. I can see that. Not even just emergency landings. What about Auckland to Peru? Why would you go all the way up here to Los Angeles and then down to Peru? Why couldn't you just go across? It's the same amount of ocean almost. I mean, pretty close. Oh, okay, because Los Angeles is in a direct line almost of Peru and Auckland. Man, that's crazy. Wake up, guys. They're lying to you. The earth is flat, guys. It's time to wake up. Take back your freedom. Peace and love.
The flat earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.